The Haunting of Brackenwood Manor. Moving into Brackenwood Manor was supposed to be the start of a new chapter for me. After my divorce, I needed a fresh start, and the secluded estate seemed like the perfect place to heal. Nestled deep in the countryside, the manor was beautiful but eerily quiet. Little did I know, it held a dark history that would soon come to light. From the moment I stepped into Brackenwood Manor, I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the autumn air. The grand foyer, with its dusty chandelier and faded wallpaper, seemed to whisper secrets of the past. As I unpacked, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The first night, I settled into the master bedroom, a cavernous space with a four-poster bed and heavy velvet curtains. Exhausted from the move, I quickly fell asleep, only to be awakened by a soft, repetitive tapping. At first, I thought it was a branch against the window, but when I looked, there was nothing outside that could explain the noise. I tried to ignore it and went back to bed, but the tapping persisted, growing louder and more insistent. Frustrated, I decided to investigate. I followed the sound down the hall, my footsteps echoing on the wooden floors. The noise led me to a small, locked door at the end of the corridor. I found the key in a drawer nearby and hesitantly unlocked it. Inside was a small study, filled with dust-covered books and old furniture. The tapping had stopped, but I felt an inexplicable sense of dread. I quickly closed the door and went back to my room, trying to convince myself that it was just my imagination. The next day, I decided to explore the study in daylight. The room was musty and cold, with an air of neglect. As I sifted through the shelves, I found an old leather-bound journal hidden behind a stack of books. The name Eliza Thorne was etched into the cover. Curiosity got the better of me, and I began to read. The journal belonged to a woman who had lived in the manor over a century ago. Her entries started off normal, detailing daily life and social events. But as I read on, the tone shifted. Eliza wrote about strange occurrences, objects moving on their own, eerie voices, and shadowy figures appearing in mirrors. One entry stood out. Eliza described a recurring nightmare of a man with hollow eyes standing at the foot of her bed. She believed he was trying to communicate with her, to reveal something terrible that had happened in the house. Her final entry ended abruptly, with a frantic scrawl. "He won't let me go. I'm trapped." As I closed the journal, the room seemed to grow colder. I felt a presence behind me and turned quickly, but there was nothing there. The sensation of being watched had returned, stronger than before. That night, I couldn't sleep. Eliza's journal had stirred something in me, a mix of fear and curiosity. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, when I felt the temperature drop. My breath misted in the cold air, and the room grew unnaturally silent. Then I saw him, a shadowy figure with hollow eyes standing at the foot of my bed, just as Eliza had described. My heart pounded in my chest, and I was paralyzed with fear. He didn't move, just stared at me with those empty eyes. Gathering my courage, I managed to speak. "What do you want?" The figure slowly raised a hand and pointed towards the study. Then, as suddenly as he appeared, he vanished. The room warmed, and the oppressive silence lifted. I lay there, trying to process what had just happened. The next day, I returned to the study, determined to find answers. I searched through every book, every drawer, but found nothing new. Frustrated, I sat at the old desk and noticed a loose floorboard beneath my feet. Prying it up, I found a hidden compartment containing a bundle of letters. The letters were from Eliza to a man named James. They spoke of a forbidden love and plans to run away together. The last letter was desperate, pleading for James to come and save her from the manor's malevolent spirit. She feared the spirit had become jealous and vengeful, and she was certain it would never let her leave. I spent the rest of the day piecing together Eliza's story. It seemed the spirit had indeed trapped her, driven by jealousy and rage. I had to find a way to release her, to put her spirit at peace. That night, I returned to the study with the letters and the journal, hoping to communicate with Eliza's spirit. I set the letters on the desk and lit a candle. "Eliza, I'm here to help you," I whispered. The air grew cold again, and I saw the faint outline of Eliza's spirit appear before me. She looked sorrowful, but there was a glimmer of hope in her eyes. Before I could say anything more, the room darkened, and the hollow-eyed man appeared. His presence was overwhelming, filled with anger and pain. He moved towards Eliza, and I knew I had to act quickly. "James," I shouted, realizing the truth. "You don't need to be jealous. Eliza loved you. She still does." The spirit paused, his hollow eyes softening. Eliza stepped forward, reaching out to him. "James, it's time to let go," she said softly. "We both need to move on." With a final mournful look, James's spirit began to fade. Eliza turned to me, gratitude in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered before vanishing. The room warmed and a sense of peace settled over the manor. I knew the spirits had finally found rest. The oppressive feeling that had haunted Brackenwood Manor lifted, replaced by a calm serenity. Life at Brackenwood Manor returned to normal, but I would never forget the spirits I had encountered. I had uncovered a tragic love story and helped two souls find peace. The manor, once a place of fear, became a symbol of redemption and healing. I still think about Eliza and James, their love transcending even death. Their story had changed me, and I felt a deep connection to the old house. Brackenwood Manor was no longer just a place to live. It was a testament to the enduring power of love and the importance of finding closure.